Bible reading, chapter 19 of Genesis, verse 1. Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed. The two angels arrived at Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gateway of the city. When he saw them, he got up to meet them and bowed down, hid his face to the ground. So, like a dog is uh, the, the traditional Japanese way of respect someone higher than you in status, like an emperor or lord. Such dog is a Dogeza. Dogeza. Verse 2. My lords, he said, please turn aside to your servant's house. You can wash your feet and spend the night and then go on your way early in the morning. No, they answered. We will spend the night in the square. Verse 3. But he insisted so strongly that they did go with him and entered his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking bread without yeast, and they ate. Well, verse 4. Before they ate, bleh. Verse 4. Before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. Verse 5. They called to Lot, where are the man who came to your tonight? Bring them out of bring them to us so that we can have sex with them. Yes, the gay sect of tradition. Yeah, that's degeneracy in that sense. Two angels, by the way. Two angels. That's crazy. I mean, they don't know, but nah, doesn't excuse them. They think someone innocent can be done with what they want. Then what happens if that person is actually a big deal? That's like saying a king is making a disguise to go to the common folk so that they can spend a vacation there for 2 to 3 days as just a peasant. If a king that decided that, then people um decided to rape the king, to kill the king, to assassinate the king as a peasant, even though they were just moving there. Then the subjects, the loyal subjects, will definitely raise the ground of what criminal syndicate of that part of organization happened, or something along those lines. That's similar to this. They don't know the identity, but why would you commit a crime? Why to an innocent man? That's like speaks volumes of what place currently is inhabiting degeneracy. Verse 6. Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him. And verse 7. And said, no, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Verse 8. Look, I have two daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them. But don't do anything to this man, for they have come to under the protection of my roof. Verse 9. Okay, so he's willing to sacrifice his most beloved for the Lord. That must be the uh, the reverie and worship of Lot to Christ Almighty. I mean, Christ is still not here, but His Spirit. This part of the Bible. That's similar to like Genesis chapter 1, chapter 1 or chapter 2, I can't remember, even though I read it. When Cain sacrificed his most prized vegetables, when Abel sacrificed his most prized uh cattle, cattle, animals, the Lord, just for their reverie. Similar to this part where Lot was willing to sacrifice his daughters for the angels of the Lord. Verse 10. But the man inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Verse 11. Then they struck the man who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness so that they could not find the door. Verse 12. The two men said to Lot, do you have anyone else here? Sons-in-law, sons of or daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here. Verse 13, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it. Yes, instead of the whole world being razed to the ground by the flood of Noah, it's systematic uh, destruction of an individual collective. I That's my vocabulary. I don't remember. Verse 14. So Lot went out to speak to his sons-in-law who were pledged to marry his daughters. He said, hurry and get out of this place because the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. Yeah, so he was willing to sacrifice his daughters to the man, both young and old, outside of his house, even though he's a father with the prospect of his in-laws gaining the rights to his child, Mary, the husband and wife. Okay. What am I thinking about? Verse 15. With the coming of dawn, the angels urged Lot, saying, hurry and take your wife and your daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished. Verse 16. When he hesitated, the man grasped his hand in the hanged hands of his wife and of his two daughters and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. Verse 17. As soon as safety out of the city, for the Lord was oh wait, what? As soon as soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, flee for your lives. Don't look back and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountain, or you will be swept away. Verse 18. But Lot said to them, But Lot said to them, no, my lords, please. Verse 19. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Verse 20. Look, Here is town near enough to run to, and it's small. Let me flee to it. Very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared. Said, verse 21. He said to him, verse 21. Like, there's so many compromises God gave to everyone, but they never gave back to him. Verse 21. He said to him, very well, I will grant this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of. Verse 22. But flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it. That is why the town was called Zor. Verse 23. By the time Lot reached Zor, the sun had risen over the land. Verse 24. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out from the Lord out of the heaven. Verse 25. Thus he overthrew those cities and the entire plain, destroying all those living in the city, also the vegetation in the land. Verse 26. But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. But verse 27. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the palace place where he had stood before the Lord. Verse 28. He looked down toward Sodom and toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a furnace. Verse 29. So when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham. He brought that out of the catastrophe that overthrew the city for love instead. Verse Verse 30. Lot and his daughters. Lot and his two daughters left Zor and settled in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zor. He and his two daughters lived in a cave. Verse 21. One day the older uh, One day the older daughter said to the younger, our father is old. There is no man around here to give us children, as is the custom all over the earth. Verse 32. Let's get out. Let's get our father to drink wine and then sleep with him and preserve our family line through our father. Oh, okay. So the daughters thought they were the only people left in the land of earth, and decided to sleep with their father to make him tipsy and have no sanity to procreate. I see. Verse 33. That night they had got their. I mean, how did they even know? Like, Abraham is still there. I don't know what their age is. I guess woman. I mean, yeah. In later parts of the Bible, if I remember correctly, the women are not allowed to become uh, teachers because they have no education. So it's giving that vibes right now. Because they didn't have any educated inferences to guess. Hmm. Verse 33. That night they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in and slept with him. He was not aware of it. She lay down, or when she lay down, or when she got up. 34. The next day, the older daughter said to the younger, "Last night I slept with my father. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him, so we can preserve our family line through our father." Verse 5. So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went in and slept with him again. He was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. Verse 36. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. Verse 37. The older daughter had a son, and he named him Moab. He's the father of Moabite today. Verse 38. The younger daughter also had a son, and named him Ben Ami. He's the father of the Ammonites of today. Okay, cool. Chapter 20 of the Bible. Verse 1. Abraham and Abimelech. Now Abraham moved on from there into the region of the Negev. He lived between Kadesh and Shur. For a while he stayed in Gerar. Gerar? Verse 2. And there Abraham said of his wife Sarah, "She is my sister." Then Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent for Sarah and took. Verse 3. But God came to Abimelech in a dream one night and said to him, "You are as good as dead because of the woman you have taken. She is a married woman." Verse 4. Now Abimelech had not gone near her, so he said, "Lord, will you destroy an innocent nation?" Verse 5. Did he not say to me, "She is my sister"? And didn't she also say, "She is my brother"? I've done this with clear conscience and clean minds. Verse 6. Then God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know you did this with a clear conscience, so I have kept you from sinning against me. That is why I did not let you touch me." Verse 7. Now now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not return her, you may be sure that you and all who belong to you will die. Verse 8. The next morning, Abimelech summoned all his officials, and when he told them all that had happened, they were very much afraid. Verse 9. Then Abimelech called Abraham in and said, "What have you done to us? How have I wronged you that you have brought great guilt upon me and my king? You have done things to me that will never be done." Verse 10. And Abraham asked Abraham, "What was your reason for doing this?" Verse 11. Abraham replied, "I said to myself, there is surely no fear of God in this place. They will kill me because of my wife." Verse 12. Besides, she really is my sister, the daughter of my father, though not of my mother. And she became my wife. Verse 13. And what and when God had me wander from my father's household, I said to her, "This is how you can show your love to me. Everywhere we go, say of me, he's my brother." Verse 14. Then Abimelech brought sheep and cattle and male female slaves, gave them to Abraham, and he returned Sarah his wife to him. Verse 15. And Abimelech said, "My land is before you, live wherever you like." Verse 16. I mean, it worked. There is a fear of God now. Verse 16. To Sarah he said, I am giving your brother 1,000 shekels of silver. This is to cover the offense against you before all who are with you. You are completely vindicated. Verse 17. Then Abraham prayed to God, and God killed Abimelech, his wife, and his female slaves, so they could have children again. Verse 18. For the Lord had kept all the women in Abimelech's household from conceiving because of Abraham's wife Sarah. Is that present or future? Like earlier, there was also a slave. I'm getting congested. There was also female slaves earlier in the Genesis. And Sarah was Sarai. So I guess this is future tense because they're calling her Sarah. Sarai. Chapter 21, verse 1. The birth of Isaac. Yes, I got it correct first time today. Verse 1. Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah as he said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Verse 2. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age. At the very time. Okay, it is future tense. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. Verse 3. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore him. Verse 4. When his son Isaac was 8 years old, Abraham circumcised him, as God commanded him. Verse 5. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Verse 6. Sarah said, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. 7. And she added, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children, yet to have borne him a son in his old age? Okay, so they were like making laugh uh fun of Sarah for not conceiving, and then said, you will only nurse children of not your own lineage or own uh uh not your own children. What? I forgot the word. How? And then now she has the right to say, yeah, to have born him a son in his old age. That's cool. Verse 8. Hagar and Ishmael sent away. The child grew and was weaned, and on the day Isaac was weaned, Abraham held a great feast. Verse 9. But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had born to Abraham was mocked. Verse 10. He said to Abraham, get rid of that slave woman and her son, for that woman's son will never share in the inheritance with his son Isaac. Oh, it is. Definitely. Verse 11. The matter distressed Abraham greatly because it concerned his son. Verse 12. But God said to him, do not be so distressed about the boy and your slave woman. Listen to whatever Sarah tells, because it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. Isaac. 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 Hey Google, what is reckoned? What is reckoned? The meaning. Hey Google, that's not what I meant. Reckoned. Reckoneed. Oh, I was pronouncing reckon. Verse 13. Verse 13. I will make the son of the slave into children, and also because he is your offspring. Verse 14. Early the next morning, Abraham took some food and the skin of water, gave them to Hagar. I'm guessing the skin of water is because of leather, the leather pouches. Verse 14. Early the next morning, Abraham took some food and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar, and stand them on her shoulders, and then sent her off with the boy. He went on her way and wandered in the desert of Beersheba. Verse 15. When the water in the skin was gone, she put the boy under one of the bushes. Verse 16. Then she went off and sat down uh, about a bow shot away, for she thought, I cannot watch the boy die. And as she sat there, she began to sob. Verse 17. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Verse 18. Lift the boy up and take him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation. Verse 19. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. Verse 20. God was with the boy as he grew up. He lived in the desert and became an archer. While he was living in the desert of Paran, his mother got a wife for him from Egypt, the treaty at Beersheba. Verse 22. At the time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his forces, said to Abraham, God is with you in everything you do. I see. Verse 23. Now swear to me before God that you will not deal falsely with me or my children or my descendants. Show me my country where you now reside as a foreigner, the same kindness I have showed you. Verse 24. Abraham said, I swear it. Verse 25. Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. Verse 26. Abimelech said, I don't know who has done this. You did not tell me, and heard about it only today. Verse 27. So Abraham brought sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a treaty. Verse 28. Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs from the flock. Verse 29. And Abimelech asked Abraham, What is the meaning of these 7 lambs you have set apart by themselves? Verse 30. He replied, accept these 7 lamps from my hand as a witness that I dug this well. Verse 31. So that place was called Beersheba, because the 2 men were an oath. Verse 32. After the treaty had been made at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his forces, returned to the land of the Philistines. Verse 33. Abraham planted at Tamarisk, Beersheba. There he called on the name of the Lord, the eternal God. Verse 34. Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines for a long time. That's the Bible reading of today. Chapter 19 to 21. Amen to God, Lord Almighty. Salamat po.